In a few former videos on my YouTube channel, I have read a few chapters from my book To Soul, Home and Back. This is my first book about life between life hypnotherapy, the way I work with it here in Sweden. And my book To Soul, Home and Back is also translated to Swedish. It's called Själens Resa Hem, if you understand Swedish. And my books are available on all the internet bookstores like Amazon, Barnes and Nobles, Adlibris, and other places. So you just search on my name and my book, and I think you will find where to buy my books in case you're interested. You can also contact me, although I prefer you buy the books from the internet. All right, so today I will continue with a story about the surgeon who I started to talk about and read about in my previous video. I then told you about his time during his Life Between Life session when he was a 7-year-old child, and also a short chapter about his life as the soldier Ray in Second World War. Now I will continue to read about him and his session when he is at the time of his mother's womb. This is a part of the warming up based on the Dr. Michael Newton Life Between Life method. To reach this stage of the hypnosis is very interesting, because that is when it seems like my client then starts to talk from a deeper level. We could call it the soul level, and because it's of course quite hard to remember the time in the womb in our own during our own life, but as a soul we remember everything. So this is now I will read this chapter called There is Very Little Space in Here. Dr. Newton created the Life Between Life method, which includes regression to childhood and then to the time as a fetus just before birth. He found that this procedure makes it easier for the human mind to relax. The mind cannot grasp how it can be possible to remember a time as early in life as being an unborn child, but for the soul this is not a problem. This is what the surgeon reports from inside his mother's womb. So I ask him, when he is deeply regressed, what does it feel like right now? Yes, it feels all right, but there is very little space in here. Yes, but still I have a feeling of freedom. Strange, I do not feel stuck, not completely. I do not feel locked up. Okay, very good. Please tell me more about what you perceive now. I do not feel as if I'm in the birth channel. The time has not come yet. I can still move freely. Yes, I can move. I'm not in a fixed position. You said before that it's not a good idea to enter my new body too early with my soul. Where were you before you entered your new body as a surgeon? He told me before in this passage, I haven't, of course, written everything in my book, but he told me that he couldn't enter the new body too early, the new womb fetus too early. Here my client all of a sudden starts to talk about a state similar to death, but from the perspective of birth, as a surgeon. He says, I have a feeling that I rest, but it is just a feeling. I see a picture of a bed. There are individuals standing around me, and it feels like I am lying down and about to die, even if I'm not. It is not a negative thing. It is almost like you would see an old person who is about to die, to give you a picture of the kind of rest I mean. Thank you for telling me all this. What more do you know? Tell me more, please. There are many people, not a lot, maybe 10 to 15 around my bed. They support me. Can this be right that I'm about to descend? And I say, yes. Do you know if this seems right? The answer is that I'm in the spirit world now and about to incarnate, because I clearly feel that this is not an earthbound experience. I cannot tell you anymore, but I don't feel this is earth and that I'm about to leave earth. There are people I recognize now. Tell me who you are, I say. He says, he sighs. I cannot see, sorry. Please go deeper and then tell me. I do a deepening, which we call in hypnotherapy. It's a deepening of his relaxed state. And then he says, somewhere I see F. It's his wife. I see F here. All of a sudden, a lot of emotions come through in the surgeon. And this is not very like him. This is just a comment from me now. He's very cool. He was very cool, a cool surgeon, and not showing any emotions really, and not crying a lot. And I don't know, of course, his personality in his private life, but I was surprised how much emotions came through here. He was groaning, and he says with a high-pitched voice, he cries. Then he says, I'm sad because I don't want to incarnate. He sighs and he cries really a lot. So I let him cry for some time, and then I say, why are you so reluctant to incarnate? And he goes on crying in a high-pitched voice. It's not his normal voice. It's like, the plan is to grow and open up myself, I think, but I'm tired of incarnation. He's totally in despair. And then takes a while for him with all the emotions, and then I say, have you incarnated many times? And he says, oh yes, I think so. That is how it feels now. And then I tell him, I give him some compassion, and I say, so you'd rather not now, right? Then he says, I have a feeling now when I see myself in the bed, just like an old woman, not a woman, sorry, I mean a person, that was a mistake, a person, I don't know why I said it, it just came, that I'm done with this, I'm finished, I have the same feeling now, but I'm going the other way. It is not only a negative thing, there is a lot of positive energy in it. So now I realized as a hypnotherapist that he kind of calmed himself down a little bit, because I acknowledged his feeling and I let him cry, of course, as long as he wanted and had to. And then I said, so what happens now? Because I heard he says there's some positive energy in it too. And then he starts to cry again. He goes to kind of deeper level, feels more. He says, oh, damn it all, I'd say. I really do not want to go down to earth. Oh, damn it, I hate that place. And he cries out. So I give him some time again, and I tell him, you can just relax now. And I deepen his hypnotic state, and there is a long silence where he seems to rest. And then, after he had his rest for a long time, and I see in his face that he looks calmer, I say, please try to give me the information as to whether you have incarnated many times before. He says, yes, but there are other places. There are other places, but I cannot tell you if I go there or not. You can do other things, but for some reason I must do just this, but I cannot tell you why. But there is so much pain, and I don't know if it is almost unbearable. I think he means to incarnate on earth. Then I say, could we check if there is anybody around your bed that supports you when you feel this way? He says, yes, F. It's the wife of the surgeon, this life. They are all here around the bed to help me. Well, we have decided to meet. This is how it is. And I say, so have you already decided here in your bed that you will meet later with some of them during your life as a surgeon? The answer is later. I have to experience a lot first. I have to descend into the mud. He talks about the mud often. I must get burned a little to burn away the harshness. No, it is the environment that is harsh. But I must open up. It is a hard nut to crack. You told me about the feeling you have now, lying in a bed like an old person ready to die, but you are going the other way to be born. Did I get it right? He says, yes. Now I'm back in the womb of my mother. I go in and out. It feels like I'm in here tasting a little, and then sometimes I return to the rest place because I don't want to. The rest place is a place where I always take my clients in the beginning of the session. It's where everything is wonderful and it makes them completely relaxed. So he refers to the rest place now. So then I go on. What is the most important thing to understand for the surgeon with all that you are telling me now? So I ask his present self to give me some kind of reflection. He says, trust is the word I get. Is there something else about the new body as a surgeon that you would like to tell me? It is actually quite sensitive. It must be looked after. It must move. Otherwise it stiffens and becomes... This body really must move or it will not work well. It has to do with the raw material, the heritage. The raw material is fairly good in my case, but it has to be looked after. Certain materials you can neglect, but they still last quite well. But this raw material you have to take care of, or otherwise it will not last. Yes, surgeon, that is interesting to hear. Please tell me more. You might get a body that can endure a lot. This one endures quite a lot of thrashing, but you can get a body that endures thrashing or be neglected. It does not have to be cleansed or polished, but it lasts anyway. However, this body should be cleaned, polished and maintained. If it is done, it works better. Do you understand what I'm saying? It's like a doctor. I say, yes, I think I do. What else do you want to tell me now? Then he says, humility. If I had a perfect body, there would be a risk that my ego would become too large. If the body did not have any limitations and I had been able to put much into action, then the risk would be great that my ego would have been greatly inflated too early, and in this case I might have lost my case and my way. That's the end of our dialogue. And then my short comments here. It is quite common that I hear the client talking about the present incarnation from another awareness that seems wiser. They are talking about themselves as third person, which is fascinating to hear. When I ask them, who is the identity that reports to me, they often answer that it is their soul self. Of course, as a doctor, the surgeon knows how to take care of his physical body, but still in this hypnotic state he reminds himself of the fact that the risk of overinflating his ego is there. He also talks about timing. This is an example of how it is possible to have a dual awareness or multi-awareness in hypnosis. It is often very interesting to perceive oneself as a child, as a fetus, or as a past life personality and still comment on it as an adult, or in this case as a professional surgeon. Yeah, so that was the end of this chapter about the surgeon in his womb experience. It was a bit unusual because not everybody experience, of course, like him. Every experiencer totally individual and personal story as a fetus. And it's always interesting because that is the phase during this Life Between Life session when people really get into it, because of course they understand intellectually that it's quite difficult to remember time in as a fetus, but still they do. So that gives them more self-confidence to go even deeper. And then we continue to the past life experience, which I will tell you about next time. And I will continue to use the surgeon as an example and also read from my book when then the surgeon becomes Ray in his past life as a soldier in World War II, and then will go to his death moment too, and his experience in Life Between Life section. So I hope you enjoyed this video today, and hopefully will continue to listen to my videos. And I recorded many videos like a monologue like this. And I also started to interview a few people with the theme, the passion of the soul, which is my main theme. And I record almost every session in English and Swedish, but my interviews will be either in Swedish or in English, depending on the person I interview and their language. So next week I'll start to interview people in English too, so I hope you will listen. And in case you understand Swedish too, there are 2 recordings now, 2 interviews in Swedish. All right, so see you later, alligator. Bye-bye.